Red ochre is a special gift from Mother Earth. It is very powerful. The children had also collected clam shells. The girls put their mouths on the clam shells to give them life, and then they put white markings along the blowhole and along the eyes with white clam shells. The clam shells on the beach were making noises, and the eldest clam said, "Shh," and they became quiet. "This is our work too," said the eldest clam. "All of you, all of us. We don't want the grandfathers and grandfathers to know we are here helping, or we might get into trouble." Some of the clam elders were very kind and willing to teach them, but some of them were mean and refused to help. The girls were mixing the tamush, red ochre, in some great big clam shells. The clam shells said, "Oh," when they felt the red liquid in their pores, and "Hyachka," when they were nourished with the tamush. Then they had been buried for so long, and now they were dripping red ochre from the bottom of their porous shells, and their little tongues were licking it up. The girls were laughing and petting the little clam shells. Then the girls and boys crawled inside the skin to paint it with the red ochre. They went into all the crevices. The skin lapped it up, making appreciative noises. Some of the boys were painting red ochre on the long sticks, saying, "Breathe, my little brothers. Breathe, my big brothers." The sticks ate it up and became pliable, loving it. The girls took long ropes made from stinging nettle to sew the skin together. The skin said, "I am going to be whole again. I am going to be me again." We'll skip on over to page 282. Everyone was very excited. It was almost like the skin was blowing up as they moved it. It was like a huge bubble on the beach. The skin was buoyant and floating. They were putting the long sticks inside to become the ribs and pushing the clamshells and sticks into the tail. Then they squeezed a very small boy into the tail, and he giggled and giggled. Next, they pushed the smallest boy into the nose. And it wasn't a very long nose. The mouth was very big. It took shape from the bodies of several young boys. One boy crouched down inside. He was the holder of the fire. They inserted the tsehewe clamshells into the eye sockets, making the whale's white eyes. Next to the little one was a fire holder and another short boy who would steer the skin. The oldest boy, Shayut, held the longest pole, now the whale's fin. The skin had become Hanamatsun, the killer whale. The boys inside were painted with red ochre. They asked their bodies to become the body and flesh of the whale. The girls made little holes on the bottom of the skin for the boys' feet. They lined up special rocks along the belly of the whale, rocks painted with red ochre and white paint. Now everyone was in place. The firekeeper was in his place. The one who moved his eyes was crouched inside. The small one inside the tail was ready, and all those in the middle section were ready. The girl started to sew the belly closed. Everything was covered in red ochre. They started to blow inside the skin, and the skin started to fill out. So, this is what the kids did. They have built a killer whale, and they have become clairvoyant. They don't even need to speak out loud. They can just talk to each other with their minds at this point. Okay? This is on page 282, by the way. And finally, the older people come along and see, and they don't see any kids. They see a whale. And I'm going to skip on down to the bottom of 282. It says here, the whale went out into the ocean and it dove down. When it came up to the surface, it was shiny and wet, and it blew smoke out with water, just like real whales do. It started to swim towards the point. The girls and boys started to run along the point, hollering and encouraging the whale and praising it. They ran to the village, hollering, "There is a great whale out there. It is a killer whale. Kaul hanamatsun, not kounus." The grandfather wanted the killer whale for its skin, but he didn't bother to look because the children were always lying. One of the women looked up and said, "There is a funny-looking whale out there." It is the one that rarely comes our way. The boys inside the skin stayed close to the shore so their feet could run on the sand. But then one of the little boys said, "My feet are inside. The skin is moving by itself. It is swimming on its own." And I'm going to skip over this because the kids inside the whale are starting to realize that they are actually becoming one with the whale. Brother says, "I can't move on my own. It's like I am part of you now." The firekeeper said he's no longer blowing smoke out of the hole, but every time the whale surfaces, the smoke blows out on its own. "This cannot be," Shuyush said. "Get close to the shore." I can't seem to push the skin close to shore. I can't feel my feet. I can't feel the rocks beneath my feet. So the children are becoming one. They're thinking to themselves, "We are one. We are one." By this time, the grandfather was at the water's edge, and he heard the sound of Shils, the creator in heaven. Many others heard the voice of Shil as well. "You have forgotten the teachings of the old ways," spoke Shil. "You must teach the children as they grow. You must start teaching them when they first start to walk, and continue teaching them as they grow. Do not neglect the teachings." The Creator was very sad because he felt it was too late. And there's a bunch of younger people that are running off and trying to chase after the whale and harpoon it. But the grandfather, is yelling at them and saying, "Stop! There's something wrong with that whale. The whale is not what it seems to be." So there, we're going to stop it because I've already gone for 21 minutes and 26 seconds. So yes, there is a story here that we need to look at. What about the characters of all the little boys and the little girls who are all feeling sad that the big people, the adults and the bigger kids, won't listen to them and just throwing them out because they think, "Oh, you little kids always get in the way. You're nothing but trouble." There's a story, and I'm going to stop it there. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. That's in our book, though. I encourage you to pick it up and read it. Thank you so much, and have a nice day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.